Hey besties, welcome back to my channel. Sorry for the lighting. It's kind of that weird lighting out right now, but I posted on my community page the other day. We're just gonna get right into this because I feel like you can't have a happy intro with this.
No, not at all.
I posted on my community page the other day and had a few different options that I wanted you guys to choose for my next video, and most of you chose this one, which is the story time on my brain injury and now TBI, and a lot of other stuff that comes along and came along with it that I've never discussed online before. Not many people even know,
Right.
because it's not something I always just love to talk about. It's very scary and sad and still
Traumatic.
Thank you. Yeah, very much so.
In two senses of the word? Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Thank you. Yes. Great word.
Thank you.
And I have my mama here because she'll have to help me fill in some of the gaps that I just can't think of, or that I don't remember from that day or around that time because of memory loss, which I will get into as well. So it was 2012.
September.
So I was 11. I had just turned 11 in July. And I had been outside playing with some of my friends, minding my business, and I was at this little park by our house, and there were a bunch of other kids nearby that I wasn't friends with, and that we're neighborhood kids, but I just was never friends with because they weren't my type of friends, obviously. And so I was over here with my friends. The other kids that I never played with or hung out with were over here, 50 feet away, 50, 70 feet away. And I was just minding my business, talking to my friends, having fun, smiling, laughing, as children do, as humans do, smile and laugh. And one of the kids that I never liked to be around because he was just always psycho and mean and everything, I just happened to look his way. I looked that way as I was smiling and laughing with my friends, and he took it as I was laughing at him. So all I remember is he just started charging at me, just full speed. And this kid so I was 11 at the time. And
he was about your age. I don't remember if
he was a year younger. Yeah, but still in that age range, maybe 10. But he was, I hope you guys can hear me. I really hope so, since it's windy. But he was a huge kid.
He was double Danielle's size.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of people are always going to be bigger than me, even if you're average.
You've always been very tiny and petite. I mean, he was just he was a very large kid, not even husky like some boys at that age can be.
Yeah,
I think it's totally normal for boys to be husky.
Yeah, but he was just a big kid.
Yeah.
Just overweight and everything. And obviously I'm not turning this into that, but just so you guys get the idea, just a big kid, and obviously way bigger than me. And so he just starts charging at me, just full speed running, and I just remember him smashing into me, and I remember falling to the ground. And then it gets a little instantly, it pretty much gets a little weird. My memory gets weird from there.
I didn't think I was gonna get emotional talking about this.
I know. I don't know whether I will or not. I think it's just one of those things. It makes me so angry.
I know.
And you guys will know.
Pisses me off.
Yeah. You guys will know obviously everything in a minute, but it obviously makes me sad too, because of so much that I dealt with and still deal with. But so anyways, so then I remember being on the ground, and I remember kind of just moving around and grunting, moaning, and I remember being able to at least say go get my mom. I don't I was just saying it just out loud in general. God, someone please just get my mom. And I don't even remember. Do you remember who came and got you?
I don't. That's what I was literally trying to think. Just because it's something that we just don't discuss.
Yeah.
Because it was just so painful, like for both of us in obviously different ways. But I don't remember. I remember somebody ran like in our house and was like, Maggie, Danielle's hurt. And so like, I think I was doing the dishes or something.
Yeah.
And so I just ran out. And I mean, it's not a far distance. It was still like on the property of where we live. And it just like, and I just ran out there, and she was laying on the ground screaming, and the kid that had done it and his dad are just standing there just like whatever. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like, Danielle, what happened? And she's screaming, and I see
I don't remember any of
that,
this.
like how the like tree trunks kind of grow up and out of the ground. One of those was under her head. And the kid's dad was even like, Maggie, like, she's not that bad, or something to that effect, telling me that I was making a big deal out of it. And so I'm like, oh my gosh. And I think it was just one of those things, like in the moment I just grabbed her, which, you know, obviously there's nothing I can do about it now, but like I should have not picked her up the way that I did, because like, you know, we didn't know her injury extent or anything. But so I hurried up, she's screaming, she's holding her head. And so I rush her to the emergency room and, you know, tell them what's going on and everything. So they start immediately doing all kinds of like neuro checks. They're doing scans and everything. They first off immediately are like, yeah, like she's concussed and everything. And so then, sorry, I've got a sniff.
My poor mom. I know, it's getting me now.
Yeah, because we don't talk about this. It's like we both like only talk with each other about certain things, and we just don't ever discuss this story. And so we were at the hospital, and you know, all of the nurses and doctors and everything are knowing, you know, they know what went on. So they're like, well, obviously because she was assaulted, we have to call the police. And I'm like, cool, like let's call the police. And so then they call the police get there, and sorry for the cars. And then they get there, and so we tell them what's going on and everything. And so we get home, we're at least at that point treating her concussion. So like, you know, no screen time, no really focusing with her eyes and everything.
And the good thing is it was 2012.
Yeah.
So I mean, I didn't like, there weren't iPhones then.
Yeah.
So at least like that was helpful to not have like screen time.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I wasn't a huge TV watcher either. So that thankfully wasn't like the hardest. But like when you're sitting around sore and bored and like can't do a lot, you want to watch TV, and then not being able to do that bit. Like it was such a just boring 2 weeks. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I just wanted to throw that in. No, it's okay.
And then obviously like I had school and work and stuff, and so I took all of that off, obviously, to stay home with Danielle. And so yeah, so the police made the report. Of course, where we live, the management has just always been disgusting. Terrible. Yeah. And so the police had talked to the manager's office. We had to do a report with them. And then even they were like, you know, Maggie, don't like make a big deal out of this, because that family, like, they don't really have anything, and it's kids being kids. And I'm like, okay, kids being kids can be one thing, which I hate that terminology anyway, because like,
you shouldn't be
like,
a psycho.
Yeah, like that's
like,
not kids being kids. Yeah. And but for the fact that my daughter, literally, we were treating her for a concussion, she had a brain injury. Who in their right mind just is like, meh. And so, but then it got really crazy, because then at that point, a couple of days later, I get a call from Blue Cross, and they're like, hey, we're getting all this information for this emergency room bill for Danielle, and we see that there are police reports involved. I'm so sorry for the sniffing. I'm just like trying to keep it together. And they're like, we see there are police reports involved. We see that, you know, that there's a brain injury and all this, and we need to know why we're being billed for this. Like, why are you sending this bill to us and everything? So I talked to Blue Cross. I'm telling them what happened, and they're like, yeah, like, we shouldn't be paying for this. You know, the perpetrator should be paying for this. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, but obviously going into the emergency room, we still have to give them our insurance information and everything. And so, I mean, Blue Cross was cool. They weren't icky. And I understand why they were like, hey, why are we paying for this?
Yeah.
And so then we were dealing with that. And then the police come and back over, and they're like, hey, like, you know, I don't think there's anything we can do. And, you know, because there were a bunch of kids out there, they said what happened. Again, the cops are like, it's kids being kids. And I'm like, she has a concussion and a brain injury. She's 11 years old. She doesn't go around that kid. That kid's not supposed to be around her because he's a lunatic. And like, the cops were just like, no big deal. Management, no big deal. And then so I talked to a very good friend of ours who's an attorney, and so he's like, yeah, like, I'll help you out if I can. So he starts trying to do stuff, and then it just basically all boiled down to, we were told by the police, we were told by the management, that, and then our attorney had talked to somebody through the kid's grandma. Like, I don't even know where she came into play, because he didn't live with his grandmother, that they just couldn't do anything. Everything was basically going to have to be dropped because the family was just too poor and had nothing. And I'm like, oh, like, I still to this day, all these years later, nearly 13 years later, I'm like, I don't understand that. It's not even like we were going after them and being like, hey, like, pay us gazillions of dollars. No, I think we had every right to go after them to, if anything, pay Danielle's hospital bills. And, you know, which ended up being that, like, Blue Cross paid for it, and I had to do co-pays and premiums and stuff like that. And it just, like, it all was blown off so badly. And
so quickly too.
Yeah.
Which is like so degrading.
It is.
Towards me.
Yeah.
And I mean,
yeah,
you, because you were obviously doing all of that for me.
Yep.
And for everything to just be swept under the rug so quickly and easily as it was by everybody else. Okay, we had to switch over to my mom's phone because my phone got full. Okay.
You can turn this more towards you. This is about you, sweetheart.
Yeah, I want to say everything that I wanted to now. So yeah, up until I got thrown on the ground, I don't remember a lot after that. I remember, like I said, moaning, grunting, kind of moving around on the ground, saying, get my mom. But then I don't remember really anything after that. Like, I don't really remember you coming to get me. I don't remember going to the hospital. Like, I don't remember any of that. I remember like this much at being at the hospital, but that's it. Like, really nothing. But something, like, more things that I haven't ever talked about, in that, like, I feel like it's almost like embarrassing. It shouldn't be, but it is, like, about, like, I have tremors from my brain injury now, and I feel like that's always embarrassing because I feel like 9 out of 10 times people will point it out and talk about it, and I'm like, yep, I have tremors, and I always leave it at that because I don't need to tell the whole story. And I just think it's just irritating that people always bring it up because, like, my hands are so shaky. It'll be in person, it'll be online, and I always get it, and it's so frustrating.
Yeah, because people will ask why you're shaking or if you're nervous or something.
Yeah.
And it's,
I feel like, yeah, that's always one of the main things. Like, if I'm, like, anxious or nervous, and I'm like, I'll just say no. Or depending on the person, I'll say, like, oh, no, I just have tremors. And I'll leave it at that. But I think it's aggravating having, like, I always am asked that, and I hate it. But also the brain injury, like, I have a lot of weird things with my head. Like, I haven't had it for a few months, thankfully, like, very thankfully, very much, but, like, I'll have these shooting pains in my head that literally feel like a knife stabbing across my brain. That's never comfortable at all. And then also the memory loss. I have so much memory loss. Long term, thank you. That, like, I really don't remember a lot of my life before that happened. And I've even found, like, myself, like, not being able to remember even just, like, after that. And having, I have a really hard time, like, focusing sometimes. Like, I'll have to, like, I'll kind of space out a lot. Like, quite often, I'll just space out. And then I have to, like, remember, like, oh, you know, I'm being spoken to, or just whatever, because I'll just zone out. And that's obviously just something I'll always deal with.
And it's not silent seizures, it's from the brain injury.
Yeah. And that's frustrating too, because it's not like I wish I could control it, because it irritates me afterwards, like realizing, oh, I just spaced out for 2 minutes straight, and it's just frustrating. And I get frustrated after it happens, because it happens so often. And another thing, that's another reason I don't really drive, and that's another thing people always ask me about. People are always like, oh, you need to drive, like, why are you always with your mom, and blah blah blah, why can't you go anywhere without each other? Well, because since I do space out so often, it has happened a few times in the car. There was one time specifically that it was really bad, and thankfully my mom was with me, but I was driving, and I started going off of the road and, like, curving into, like, the woods, and she was like, Danielle, and hurried up and grabbed the steering wheel, and I was like, I'm sorry, I just blanked out. And obviously you weren't mad at me. It's nothing I can control, but that's why I don't really like to drive. And if I do drive, I'll, like, roll the windows down and turn the music up and talk to my mom, and that helps me like stay focused. So, like, I mean, I can do that in the car, but that's why I just don't really drive. And then, like, are my pass outs, are some of that from the brain injury, or is that just my own thing?
I think that's just your own thing. I think sometimes, I don't know, you're just so tiny and everything, and I don't know, you just, your body's like, oh, I just need to recharge. But yeah, so just a lot has come with it since, and that I'll always deal with, and it's not fun at all. And it's never fun, like, being asked, and, like, specifically with my tremors and stuff, like, just can't people just mind their business? Like, why do you have to ask if, like, I'm nervous or anxious? If I am, just leave it be. But obviously I'm not. I can't help just shaking like crazy. But also, I know, really windy all of a sudden. Look how pretty your hair looks, though.
Thank you. Like, you guys know, I feel like I say this in every single video, and I feel like I'm a broken record, but you guys know how much we both want to move so badly for endless reasons. But this being another reason, because we still live in the same place, and I still have to walk out, whether I walk outside or look out our window, I have to say,
right there,
the tree is right there. It's right there in front of our house, and having to walk out or like look out every single day and see that same place and have that memory every single day, I hate it. I just want out of here for so many reasons, but can I not be like
triggered so badly, that memory.
Every single day. It's just not fair. It's frustrating. Everything about it's just frustrating.
I would like to add too that after all of that family kind of all dispersed in different ways and went and lived with other people. And I have heard from several different people, and it was like on Facebook, on like the police department, because there were a couple of things. And right before they moved, the same kid threw his mom down the stairs, and she had a stroke from, I don't know if it was from or what was going on, but anyway, he threw her down the flight of stairs in the house. She had a stroke. I know she was wheelchair bound. Like, it was a whole thing. And then it was on the local police department page that I had seen him several years back that he had like quite violently beaten his girlfriend. I mean, so just to kind of even explain to you that Danielle's situation was not a one-time thing. He was just violent, no matter who it was.
Yeah.
He was violent. And like, obviously from like 10, 11 years old up until adulthood. Sometimes I've thought about just being like, okay, I kind of want to see like if he's in jail, but then I'm like, I'm not even going to do that to myself, because I honestly, I don't want to know anything about him. Like, I just like, no, I don't want to know anything about him. I don't, nothing. The pain physically and emotionally and everything that he caused my daughter, and especially like that, like I had to watch all of that, and as a mom you can't do anything about it, and you just like, the things I wanted to do to him would have put me in jail, and then what can I do for her? You know? So yeah. But yeah, so it was rough.
Very much so. Yeah. But another thing is like, even just like a lot of times certain touches on my head really hurt. And like, I feel like not everyone, but there's just those people that like to just touch you. Like, some people will come up and like just pat your head or whatever.
Yeah.
And I hate that, and I'll always like I don't like to be touched as is. Like, don't touch my shoulder, don't touch my hand, don't touch like my foot. Like, I don't care, just don't touch me. But I hate when people come up and just give like a pat on the head, because even that can hurt so badly, and I'll immediately be like, don't touch my head. Like, I don't care if I sound icky, but just don't touch people, because you never know what they might have. But I've had that happen a lot, like where people just touch my head. But another thing, like even in the shower, sometimes when the water will hit my head, I had it the other night that it was really bad, like 2 nights in a row, and I like, oh, it hurts so bad when the shower touches like certain parts of my head. And the other day it was like my left side, that it was so bad, and it hurt so bad that I was like, Mama, like, even just, I had her come in the bathroom because like I thought I was gonna just like puke from the pain. Yeah.
I was gonna say too, because even just like brushing your hair.
Oh yeah, that's horrible. A lot of times.
I think one of the things with how you said just don't go up like that to people.
Yeah.
And I think it's something that like you focus on when you do have the injury.
Yeah.
So like, some people just going up and being like, hey, wouldn't think about it. You think about it because it hurts.
Right.
So yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's everything.
I do too. But I think, just the main thing was just how, I guess the best word, like you said, degrading it was. Just the whole being swept under the carpet by the police, the whole legality part of it, the management, everything. Like the fact that, you know, she's got this lifelong injury, and it was just like, oh, well, they don't have any money, they're poor, so, you know, too bad.
Yeah.
Just like, it's disgusting. So yeah,
and I always tried to stay away from that kid as is, but then remember there was another incident. Was that one after? I remember like being out, and he like shoved me against a wall with his bike and slammed his bike into my vagina.
I don't remember.
You don't?
No, I don't remember that one.
Yeah. And nothing was done about that either with the police.
Yeah. Because I know he just wasn't supposed to be around you.
Yeah.
It just like, there were so many mean people to you because just you're always a nice, kind girl. The pageants, things like that, like it was, I don't know,
Yeah.
jealousy, I don't know, just the nicer you are, it's like the meaner people are.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, but it's something that will always be like lifelong, that I'll have different struggles with, and that I'll have pain with, and like some days, like just randomly, like my head, something will happen, like whether it even just be shower water, and I don't know until it's touched, you know. But yeah, and like obviously I'm even curious just with certain things, even if my head will feel better once we're out of the house and I'm not like stressed all of the time.
Yeah.
Because of like where we live and being away from all of the mold. We have like tons of mold, black mold, and everything in our house that isn't taken care of. So like even just like with that type of stuff, like will my head and everything even get slightly better? I mean, obviously I'm still gonna have problems, but even just like being away from like just everything horrible, I feel like it can get better.
Yeah.
But I'll still have my tremors, I'll still have head pain, I'll still have memory loss, I'll still have a brain injury, but hopefully just being out and moving can even help with certain things.
I think too, because if people are like, well, why haven't you moved yet and stuff, I mean, like, it's like there would be times like when I was working and in school and stuff, we'd feel like we were starting to get ahead, and then everything would kind of just fall apart in different things. It just like we could not get ahead, and that's just been the thing, is we either just kind of leveled out or we just sunk.
Yeah.
And then obviously in these last like 4.5 years, like there were just zero opportunities for us to move, or so
like 5 years.
Yeah.
Sorry,
and
you're fine. And it bites, you know, having to be around like so many different triggers and not being able to move. And it's always hurtful when people do say like, oh, then just move. If it were that easy, we would have done it, you know, a decade plus ago.
Right.
Like, if you want to buy us a house, please do. Like,
pay a year's rent, something.
Seriously, if you have a remote job for my mom, please let us know, because she wants a remote job. I'm obviously like working on my YouTube, so just even subscribing, liking this video will help us move and everything. But it's a lot. And
I thought that was a cat.
Me too. I was like, what, kitty. Yeah, so it's been pretty hard talking about this.
I know.
And I feel like I'll be like off for the rest of the day, but
I think for me it's helped. There are people walking by and dogs and stuff, and so I keep
focusing on that. Yeah. So, it's been hard, and editing this, I guess I really won't have anything to edit, but just even posting this will I'm like scared to post it.
Yeah, it'll be good.
But
there'll be a little bit of wind and crying kids and me sniffing, but it'll be good. It's okay. This is about your story, not about everything the side noises.
All right, well, thank you for helping me with this, Mama.
Absolutely, honey. I'm glad that you finally are getting it out there.
Thank you.
So
because I feel like even just talking about it and letting other people know, like, will help get some of that justice, you know, that I've never had before.
I really like the way you said that.
Thank you.
That's fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I love that. That makes me want to cry again.
All right.
So, okay, let's wrap this up.
Yeah, because I don't want to cry on camera. All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening. Thanks for hearing my story. And I don't really know how to outro this. So thanks for watching, you guys. Bye.